Am I the a-hole for what I told my mother-in-law when she asked to be in the delivery room? My husband, male 33, and I, female 30, are expecting a baby boy, and we're barely catching up with preparation and getting everything ready. His mom, kind of a busybody type but can be helpful at times, invited us for dinner and said she has an important request to make. She brought a request up at dinner table and blatantly said that she wanted to be in the delivery room with me when I give birth. I was taken aback by her request. I really thought it had something to do with a nursery or diaper brand. I said I was sorry, but only my mom and my husband will be there. She made a face, got quiet for a while, then brought it up again. Just kept pushing, saying she is as much of a grandmother as my mom, and that she just wanted to be there for support and get the opportunity to see her grandbaby's first moments. But my husband sided with her. I just stared at her and said, "It's all right. You can have the opportunity to be in the delivery room when it's your son who's giving birth." Everyone stopped eating, and my mother-in-law left the table in an instant. My husband had me got up, although I wasn't finished with dinner, but he said we should leave. In the car, he lost it on me asking what brain cell made me think it was a good idea to tell his mom that. I told him his mom kept pushing after I'd already given her an answer. Still, he said this was the most messed up stuff he heard me say. I replied that I was just frustrated and didn't mean to hurt her feelings and cause issues. He argued that if I don't want issues, then I should stop making things difficult and just say yes to his mom's request. He then ranted about how it's his son too, and then said if his mom isn't allowed in there, then he won't be there too. Now, I don't know if he really meant this or just said it in the heat of the moment, but it had me fuming. He's been ignoring me when I try to talk to him and act like I'm not in the room. I think I might have gone too far and created tension by responding inappropriately. Am I the a-hole? Edit. There has been some tension between me, my husband, and his family lately, and this probably blew up because of built-up resentment. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Actually, what you said makes sense as we're talking about your body here. The reality is that your mother-in-law just did you a favor here, because your husband siding with her is showing issues in your marriage and the difficulties you're going to face when it comes to decisions about your pregnancy or your child. I would tell him that if he doesn't come into the delivery room when I give birth, and if he's not supportive of my decision concerning my body, our marriage will be over, and he shouldn't bother coming to the hospital at all, because he will have to wait until I go back to my parents to meet our son. Go see a lawyer to prepare for a divorce just in case, and try to get an appointment with a therapist to help you through all of it. This. Opie needs to prepare herself for the worst outcome. Mother-in-law literally ambushed her by making that request in front of everyone and not taking no as an answer. There are a million reasons to why Opie just wants her mother and husband in the delivery room. Her husband is behaving like a mama's boy and probably thinks that throwing a tantrum like, "If she's not there, I won't be there as well," will make Opie change her stance. This can become a bigger problem in the future with other parenting decisions at stake. I agree with your advice. Opie should seek a lawyer and be prepared. They want to play like kids, but someone needs to remind them all that no means no, and actions required consequences. Not to mention, I believe that the husband set this up. He was way too quick to defend his mother and insist Opie give in to her request at dinner. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to move my husband into a home on his dime? I, 48 female, married my husband, 66 male, 23 years ago. Yes, there was a large age gap. He had a wife and children, and he left her for me. There were problems in that marriage that I won't touch on, and he and I have been happy. His children, 38 male, 36 male, 32 female, and I have never gotten along very well, and the relationship between him and his children have been strained. This is the dynamic, and not what I'm here to be judged on. He was the breadwinner of the household, and I did some part-time work, but that was about it. But we've lived comfortably even after his retirement 5 years ago. My husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about a year ago. He's been getting worse very quickly, and while I've done my best, his care is becoming too much for me to the point where I've made a difficult decision that I cannot provide what is needed. I've looked through a lot of options, and I've chosen to move him into a home with specialized care for his condition. I did tell his children, who knew of his diagnosis, about my choice since I felt they had a right to know. Now they're furious with me, claiming it's unfair for me to do that, telling me that I wrecked their home only to not keep my marriage vows of in sickness and in health to him, and saying that I've always been a gold digger and my choice to use his money to send him away proves that. Obviously it hurt. I vented to a friend of mine who told me that she did think it was cold of me to stop caring for him, as he will most likely decline more rapidly. Now I'm starting to feel bad for the choice I've made. My friend suggested that I should make the commitment of taking a class or something to learn how to care for him. It agreed with his children that I signed up for this when I got with a married man. Am I the a-hole for wanting to move my husband into a care home? Edit. For more information regarding finances, I'm using his money to ensure he gets the best care possible, because insurance will not cover everything. Even if I went back to work, I would not make enough on my own. I'd like to say that I'm all on my own regarding care for him. The children will not see him, nor will they be involved, because the relationship is strained due to the divorce and remarriage. Some people do not like that I did not include a paragraph explaining how much I love my husband and how I personally feel towards the children and him and the situation. I chose to respect the word count and to try to be as objective as possible. I have been happily married for nearly 25 years, and he truly is the love of my life. I want to care for him, but I cannot provide the 24/7 care necessary, and the layout of our house is not suitable for him. So it's been determined that it's easier on him to deal with a full-time transition team at a home than it is to move him with me and then try to tackle his regression and messed up routine. I also had questions of why I haven't looked into other options or if I spoke to the doctors. We had a very terrifying elopement incident which ended in some violence towards emergency services. That has really triggered this move to a care home. I'm looking for the best possible care for him, and the doctors have been wonderful in support and assistance. They have assured me that I am not abandoning him by getting him the care he needs. People ask, will I visit? The answer is that if COVID policies permit, the answer is yes. I will make it a point to visit often until it is no longer helpful, which I have been warned can happen. Finally, to everyone who has shared their personal experience caring for someone in a similar condition, thank you very much, and my heart goes out to each and every one of you. You are in my thoughts and prayers. I'm sorry that I cannot reply to everyone. This is beyond the scope of the sub. Advice from your husband's doctors and Alzheimer's support groups would be a better source of information for making a decision like this. Involving his children in the discussion would probably help them understand and accept your choice, but it's still your choice. I've tried to involve them where I can, but because of how the first marriage ended and everything, there has always been a strain and resentment there. They've never really looked at him the same way for it, especially the oldest. They want nothing to do with it and claim that since I married him, it's my responsibility. His care has been put entirely on me, and I'm honestly at the point where I cannot do what I need to. I even quit the part-time job that I had at the time. I do love him and I want him to be home, but the doctors agreed that if it gets to be too much, he needs help. Opie, get a full-time job. Those kids may have opinions, but they're not going to support you when you're old. To all the people calling Opie a gold digger, it is incredibly expensive to pay for a long-term care for an Alzheimer's patient. It is also extraordinarily difficult for one person alone to care for someone like this at home. Opie is not the a-hole. She's paying out thousands and thousands of dollars to the care facility every year to make sure her husband is clean, fed, given therapy, and is monitored 24/7 to keep him safe. I wonder if the husband's adult children are upset that any potential inheritance they might have had is going towards their father's care. Also, the people who want to throw in sickness and in health in Opie's face are not understanding it is close to impossible for one person to monitor and provide adequate care for an Alzheimer's patient. Opie made the most expensive, but safest choice for her husband. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that yes, the gym is more important to me than her and her daughter? I, 32 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 29 female, for about 18 months, and she has the cutest little 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. As our relationship has progressed, I've been spending more and more time at my girlfriend's place to the point that I've all but moved in with them. This is mostly just because it's logistically easier for me to go to her place since she has a kid and I don't. I work from 4:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. I get to bed by 4 a.m. and then wake up around noon. And then on most days, head off to the gym and spend about 2 hours there total. I like to work out. It makes me feel good, keeps me healthy, and I also consider it a professional responsibility to stay in shape. Working 10-hour shifts means that I don't have a ton of time in between shifts, but that I also have more days off than most working people. This was never a problem until I, basically, moved in with my girlfriend. Suddenly, lately, when I wake up and try to head off to gym, she's all, "Oh, it's all about you, huh?" Or, "You only care about doing what you need to do. Daughter doesn't understand why you are leaving and why you don't want to spend time with us." The last time, things came to a head. When my girlfriend started objecting to my going to the gym, I told her, "I'll see you and daughter for a little bit before I go off to work. And then tomorrow I'm off and don't have a workout scheduled, so we'll have the whole day together. But I have to get my workout in today. It's a priority." She then responded, "So the gym is a priority, but me and daughter aren't? If you want to be part of this family, it's not all about you anymore. So what's more important to you, the gym or us?" I responded, "Well, if you're going to force me to choose instead of making room for something that you know is important to me, then I guess I have to choose the gym." I then left. I'm sitting in my own apartment now. Things may be over. In fairness, I should note that she wasn't insisting that I never go to the gym again. She just wanted to renegotiate my schedule. But I was unwilling because I felt as if that would get in the way of my goals. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Not for prioritizing the gym so much, but for basically moving into her home when you weren't serious about her. It's hard on kids to have parental type figures come and go a lot. Makes their lives less secure. Don't jerk kids around. In what way did he show he wasn't serious? In what way did he jerk kids around? By going to the gym? Furthermore, isn't it the mom's responsibility to make this clear before he moves in? OP isn't a parent and may not have realized his role as a parental figure. You're right. The mom and guy should have talked stuff out. But the part where he made it clear he wasn't serious was when, in comparison to spending time with the child, he said that the gym was his priority, and he was unwilling to negotiate to a solution. He'd try to live with someone without making the necessary adjustments to his life. First off, it's not his kid, and I guarantee that will be made very obvious the second she needs it to be. Keep that in mind. Second of all, parents or parental figures need to have alone time for hobbies that keep them healthy. Going to the gym is one of those. It is not only good for his health, but set a great example for the kid. What he was explaining was that there needs to be a balance and both parents need to help each other find that balance. Forcing one parent to give up something as essential as the gym because that time could be spent with her and her daughter is toxic. Not every waking moment that is not at work needs to be with a kid, especially if that time away from the kid is used in a healthy and productive way like working out. Also, giving an ultimatum is not a great way to go about getting what you want either. He's not saying he chooses the gym over the daughter. He's saying he chooses the gym over this behavior. This feels more like incompatibility than a-hole territory. I also kind of feel like you were backed into making a choice. She gave you an either-or question, which of course sounds terrible. I'm going no a-holes here because it just seems like your lives don't seem to be a good fit. Not everyone fits together, and that's okay. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé's friend she isn't my problem and I don't care about her feelings? My fiancé and I are getting married in 2023. My best friend and best man is going to have a year-old kid by the time of our wedding, and he and his wife are planning on coming out from out of the country to support us, so we decided to have the kiddo be the ring bearer. Over the weekend, my fiancé had some friends over. Her best friend's sister, let's call her Abby, came too. Context. Abby briefly dated my best friend in uni. She cheated on him and he kicked her to the curb. It's ancient history, but I'm not fond of the girl in full transparency. So my fiancé and her friends were hanging out, talking wedding things, and they got a bit tipsy. And my fiancé starts yelling excitedly for me to bring the mini tux photo. My buddy sent me some pictures of tux onesies for his kid, our ring bearer, to get fiancé and I's approval of what we wanted them to get, so that's what she wanted. I came in and showed them, and they were all going crazy over how cute it was. Suddenly, Abby grabs my phone out of my hand and practically screams in my face. Wait, he's your best man? I get she was tipsy, but it really pissed me off. I took my phone back and told her not to yell in my face. So she turns to my fiancé and loudly says, "You can't let him, me, invite him." My fiancé looked puzzled, but her best friend was just like, "Abby, that's his best friend. Chill out." Then this girl starts crying and says she's going to have such an awkward time if he's there and she's single. It was ridiculous. I just left and went back to the living room, and I heard her sister tell her to grow up. So I thought it was dealt with. A few hours later, she cornered me in the kitchen while I was grabbing a beer and started begging me to not invite my best friend to my own damn wedding. She told me it would trigger her anxiety, and that if I cared about her feelings and really am a mental health advocate, mental health is huge to me, but not when it's weaponized, I would at least have him just be a guest. I was freaking floored by her audacity. I told her she wasn't my problem, and I didn't care about her feelings on this. I also told her I'd have a better time personally if she didn't come, so maybe she shouldn't if it would impact her mental state. Well, she started crying again and ran and told all the girls. My fiancé says she doesn't think I did the wrong thing necessarily, but that I didn't need to be so harsh. Some of the other girls gave me dirty looks as they were leaving. I've been feeling guilty because usually I wouldn't speak to someone like that, but I felt she was really crossing a line. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. How entitled is she? Your fiancé's best friend's sister is trying to dictate who you have as best man? Seriously, that is messed up. I think you handled it absolutely brilliantly. You were clear, concise, and polite until she went too far. She crossed the line and you stood firm. That's a great comment. Same thinking for me. My man, it's your wedding. Your wedding. You invite whoever you please, and nobody can say otherwise. This girl has, as you rightly pointed out, tried to emotionally blackmail you by weaponizing her mental health. So she's immediately the a-hole. I'm glad you stood up for yourself, your friend, and your principles. You've done absolutely the right thing. I think, as your wife said, you were a bit harsh, but that can't be helped now. You were obviously irate at a time, and she was tipsy, so it blew up more than it should have, but you're in the right. So yeah, don't sweat it, King. You're all gravy. If this Abby girl has anxiety about an ex she cheated on, she needs a reality check in my opinion. Your friend has moved on, got married, and had a baby. You literally won't even notice her.